你好, what do you say to your friends if you want them to teach you a certain Chinese word? That's what we're gonna learn in this lesson. Watch until the end for some useful expressions. Let's do it. Do you remember the word for the Chinese language? 中文,中文. There is an alternative word for Chinese. 汉语,汉语. Han refers to the Han ethnicity, and yu means language. There are, of course, languages of other ethnicities within China, and that's why Hanyu is used more often within China to refer to the Mandarin dialect, and Zhongwen is more often used outside of China. The textbook I used to teach with in the US says Zhongwen, but the official HSK textbook says Hanyu. That's what the H in HSK refers to. Also, something plus yu focuses more on the spoken aspect of the language, whereas something plus wen focuses more on literacy. Let's practice Hanyu for a little bit. How do you say to speak? 说,说. To speak Chinese is 说汉语,说汉语. I know how to speak Chinese. 我会说汉语,我会说汉语. You know how to speak Chinese. 你会说汉语,你会说汉语. Do you know how to speak Chinese? 你会说汉语吗?你会说汉语吗? Another way to ask the same question, hint using a not a structure. 你会不会说汉语?你会不会说汉语? How do you answer this question? 我会说,我会说. Or more simply, 我会,我会. Now let's go back to the word 中文 when we refer to the Chinese language, only because it's the word I'm more used to. 用中文 means in Chinese. 用 literally means using. So to say in Chinese, you're literally saying using Chinese. 用中文,用中文. By the way, 说 also means to say. To say something in Chinese, 用中文说,用中文说. To say red alert in Chinese, 用中文说 red alert. 用中文说 red alert. I know how to say red alert in Chinese. 我会用中文说 red alert. 我会用中文说 red alert. Now let's learn how to ask people how to say something in Chinese. How in Chinese is 怎么,怎么. How to do something in Chinese is 怎么 plus verb. How to say 怎么说,怎么说. How to say blank in Chinese. Blank 用中文怎么说? Blank 用中文怎么说? How to say red alert in Chinese. Red alert 用中文怎么说? Red alert 用中文怎么说? In the English sentence, red alert is the object of the verb say. In the Chinese sentence, red alert is the topic of the whole sentence. We put red alert at the beginning because it is the most important part of the question, and doing so we can get the other person's attention quickly. More importantly, the sentence sounds more natural this way. Let's practice a little bit. How to say Homo sapiens in Chinese? Homo sapiens 用中文怎么说? Homo sapiens 用中文怎么说? How to say IKEA in Chinese? IKEA 用中文怎么说? IKEA 用中文怎么说? By the way, red alert 的中文是红警。Homo sapiens 的中文是智人。IKEA 的中文是宜家。Now that you learned how to use 怎么 to ask questions, I have some expressions related to 怎么 for you. The first one is 怎么了?怎么了? There are two ways to interpret 怎么了. One is what happened. If your colleague runs into the office and tells everyone to evacuate, you may ask 怎么了?怎么了? You use 怎么了 in this way when you want to know what is going on in the current situation. The other meaning of 怎么了 is what about it, or what do you care? So once I was sitting in the lobby of a car dealership with my family, my husband went away to make a call and left his backpack in the chair across from me. A mid-aged guy came over and asked, "Is this your backpack?" He looked so shady, so I immediately glared at him and said, 是我们的. 怎么了? The point of using 怎么了 in this way is to have a tough face on. It wouldn't work if you're smiling. The next expression is 怎么办?怎么办? You can say 怎么办 when you don't know what to do. If you only have 40 minutes to layover at an international airport in a foreign country and the connecting flight is already boarding by the time you're disembarking the first one, you also have to go through the customs, you might secretly ask yourself, 怎么办?怎么办? What do I do? 怎么办? The last expression is 怎么样?怎么样 is used at the end of a sentence when you're suggesting something, kind of like, what do you think? For example, 我们去吃饭怎么样?我们去吃饭怎么样? Literally, let's go eat. What do you think? 我们去游泳怎么样?我们去游泳怎么样? Let's go swimming. What do you think? That's it for today. Hope you like this lesson. See you in the next one. 谢谢，再见。